Fine,
Good.
thanks. How are you?
Hi.
Good, good. No, I just want to take a minute to say thank you for joining us in the Green Room interviews. We,
Sure.
we're looking forward to seeing both your shows. Let me just take a minute to introduce everybody. We have Lizann Warner from Dog and Butterfly and Michelle Tyler from Mirage, two probably the best tribute bands in the United States. I don't think we'd be boasting by saying that. So I guess my first question to you, you're friends, right?
We actually met through the tribute band thing. We had already started our bands respectively, and we actually did a show together at Hermosa Beach, Fiesta Hermosa, a few years back. Well, God, when was that, Michelle?
Oh God, it had to be 10. Well, we were doing Belladonna at the time. We weren't even doing
Yeah,
Mirage.
yeah. But
So
she
it had
was
to be
playing
10.
with her
It had to be
band.
10
Yeah.
years at least, maybe.
So
Yeah,
you guys-
both our bands were playing the same concert, and that's how we met. But it
So
was
you-
like when our bands were still very young. I think both of our bands had only been out a few years at that time.
No, I was around 10 years before that. I've
With-
been around
with-
since
Well, no,
2000.
Belladonna was around before that long.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
I think Dog and Butterfly had only been around maybe a couple years at that time.
Right.
My question is always this: what makes a tribute band like of your quality? And there are a lot of other really great tribute bands as well. But what makes your tributes stand out from a lot of other tributes that are really just kind of cover bands?
Yeah, I think the quality of the musicianship and the costuming and the attention to detail, all of those things raise the bar and make the band a little bit more believable. And that's what we strive for. I guess we're doing a pretty good job because both Ann and Nancy have said that, have endorsed us for our authenticity. So.
How about you, Michelle? What do you think? What do you put
Yeah,
in?
I would agree with Lizann. When we put Belladonna together, and then of course Mirage, we decided that we have a lot of we have casual fans that have heard the songs. They don't know how everything looks, but we have a lot of really dedicated fans who know how everything looks and sounds. And so I studied so many videos of Stevie Nicks. I mean, I used to drive my kids crazy. They say, "Mom, not another video of Stevie Nicks." I say, "Well, this is my job," and I mean, just the way that she and the style of the beads she's got on the mic stand, and no, you would never do that, and you would always do that, and this has got to be this way, because what you're trying to do is create like a smoke and mirrors. You want people to like squint a little bit and go, dang, is that really her? And it's worked. It's worked even in FedEx. I've been in FedEx and people went,
That's hysterical, but it's so true, because I was working with my staff on editing both your videos, because both your bands so generously have donated to perform at the virtual series we're doing. And I mean, there are moments there when like we'll see a side shot of Mirage, and I'll just stop and go, I can't believe how much this looks like. Or a segment I was just looking at last night for Dog and Butterfly, when you're belting out, I think Kick It Out, and you go down on your knee. And that's like exactly, I just saw Heart this past summer. And I was like, this is amazing. And so the detail is definitely it's a study, it's a character study.
yes, it is.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
It's musical.
Yeah.
It really is musical theater. I mean, we're
Yes.
musicians, and we've all been in, Lizann and me. We all do other things too. We do cover things, but when we're doing our characters, it is musical theater. We are trying to, as best we can, embody that persona. And
like a character, yeah.
Yeah, and we both go into, I think I can speak for Lizann too, I'm sure, on this. When we're doing our show, we get into like a zen, and we actually feel like we are that person. That's how I feel anyway.
Yeah.
I just like jump into her. I jump into her, and it's really kind of a magic thing.
So Liz said something before that I wanted to hit on. Have you, both of you, actually met the artist who you are portraying? And how has that been? I mean, do you have any funny stories? Hopefully they're pleased with what you're doing.
I know Michelle, I think, has met Stevie. I've never met Ann Wilson, but we did. I did have the pleasure of meeting Nancy, and she was very nice. And we did actually hit her up for that question because I wanted to know if they were bothered at all by the fact that there's bands that are doing tributes to them. I mean, I just had to ask, and she actually was really good about it. Nancy said that she was actually flattered, didn't bother them at all. They said that they were, honored and flattered that there were people that liked them so much that they would take it to that level. So
That's awesome.
and she was very sweet. She was very, I unfortunately have never met Ann, but Nancy was great.
Are you going to tell us the funny story about meeting?
Yeah, it is kind of funny. This was a long time ago. Well, not that, it was 2005. And we were doing Belladonna, and we were down in Temecula playing an outdoor thing out at a big shopping center. And we were doing a song, and this lady was running around with her camera, and whatever. So the show ended, and one of my guys said, she came up to me during, an acoustic number when we were off the stage and said that her husband is Stevie Nicks' vocal coach, and would you mind saying a shout out? But I couldn't get that to you because we started our show again. So she had dropped his name and the name of the guy, and I looked him up. Never in a million years thinking this was even real, because you never know. Anyway, long story short, he was her vocal coach. He was on the road with her, and they were coming back to their hotel. It was on the East Coast, and put her on the phone when we were singing Silver Spring. And she wanted to say hello. Well, we didn't know. So I said, oh man, bigger name on the other end, I would have totally stopped the show. And so he said, let me see what I can do. So he put us in touch with her management. And they flew, Bob and I, Bob is my husband, who's also in Mirage, and flew us up to where she was performing with her solo career. And we got to go backstage, and we came, into the hospitality line, and I was the last person in line, and I said, hi Stevie, I'm Michelle Tyler. I think you heard me on a cell phone about 2 weeks ago or whatever it was. And she stopped, and she turned around, and she put her hands on my shoulders, and she goes, oh my God, I kept telling them to run over there, run over there, run over there. And then she says to her friends, this is the one I was telling you about. And I'm thinking, wow, you're telling me about me. That kind of took me back. I didn't even know what to say. So I just said, well, it was a cell phone. It probably didn't always sound all that great, but I just want you to know that we really respect you, and we always do a good job, or we try to honor you. So anyway, so she was saying, you sounded great and all this stuff. And I said, it probably didn't sound all that great on a cell phone, but blah, blah. And she says, no, it sounded great. And in fact, she says, and she leans in real close to me, kind of whispers, but not quite whispers, and says, you just let me know whenever you want to take over, because I've about had it. And then she laughed and I laughed, and we, all had a big laugh. And
that's funny.
Yeah, and she was nice, and I've met her again. I've gone backstage when they were in. I know her cousin very well, and we went backstage, and oh hi, so she's very nice. And I met Lindsay, and I used to do some things with Mick, so I met them all except for John and Christine.
When Deshay and I met Nancy, we were walking into a club. That's where she was performing out in Pasadena. And when we walked into the club, and then later we talked to her, she said when we first came into the club, she thought that we looked like her and her sister. She said that was her first thought when she saw us. So I thought that was kind of cool. But also, and to add that we also did have the pleasure of getting to perform with members of Heart. We performed with Roger Fisher and Steve Fossen, the original guitar player and bass player of Heart. So we performed with them on stage. So that was kind of fun.
Are you, both of you ladies, the leaders of your band? Do you do all the booking? Are you the final say?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
most of the time.
Yeah.
So you're basically the managers of these bands.
Yeah.
Is that hard?
Yeah. It's hard. It's a benevolent dictatorship. Yeah. And it has to be that way. If you have too many cooks in the kitchen or people driving the bus, then it's just insane.
Yeah. And Liz,
I know that Michelle and I also commiserate a lot about the fact that we handle a lot of our booking ourselves, And we both have found that not too much unlike the real Heart and the real Fleetwood Mac, it's sometimes a boys club world out there for bands. Even in the tribute band world, it feels like that. When it comes to booking a band that's fronted by females, it seems a little more challenging than booking it if we were an all-male band. I feel there is still
Yeah,
that.
we need more estrogen out there on stage.
Yeah. It's a bit of a boys club. It is a little harder sometimes to book our bands. They seem to go for those AC/DC, Led Zeppelin, hard rock and boy bands. And sometimes it's the estrogen thing. I think, I don't know if they feel intimidated by that, or if they feel maybe we don't rock as hard as the boys, which is totally untrue.
More alcohol.
Yeah. I've heard that too. Cause we had a couple outdoor shows that we were, working to place our band in, and they would say stuff like that too. They would say stuff like, well, the boy bands sell more beer, they get more drinking, and that's a lot of times with a lot of the venues, beer and alcohol sales are a big deal.
At Pershing Square, we've never booked bands that way, but I do understand some of the challenges of being the only female on the team.
Yeah, it's a
Absolutely.
little harder. It's a little harder for that reason, I think.
And what's interesting is both of our bands have two fronted females in our band.
Yeah.
Which is not just like when I was doing Belladonna, I was Stevie and their backup band, but now we got Christine and she's got Nancy. So it's really good, when we play, because that's twice the estrogen.
Yeah. And we even do, Michelle and I even do shows with our bands together. We do kind of a cool mutation of both bands on stage. And it's nice because we do have the two females, and pretty much a lot of our band members are interchangeable, because her husband plays in my band, my husband plays in her band. So
really?
sometimes
That's great.
Yeah, so we sometimes will do a great big, Heart and Fleetwood Mac conglomerate show where we actually
extravagant.
I'm gonna write that down. I'm
Yeah,
gonna write that down. That sounds like a fun show.
And
Gotta write that down.
we use the same back line, and being that we have the two girls, they just pop in and then we pop in, and it just goes back and forth, and it's kind of fun.
Those shows have all been sold out.
Yeah.
Extremely popular.
Yeah, Heart and Fleetwood Mac together, it's like the concert that never was, but should have been.
Right.
That's great. So,
never together again.
Yeah.
do you think that the tribute band genre is a music brand or style that will have some sort of longevity in the years to come?
I think there's a lot of longevity to it. I mean, as long as there's music and there's bands and classic rock, I think there's always going to be people paying tribute.
The classic rock, of course, and it's interesting because I would say, as the demographics get older, because we're all getting older too, like Stevie said, that maybe the younger ones might not really care so much about Fleetwood Mac, or care so much about Heart, or care so much about the Eagles. But I would say that isn't true, because when we go and do our shows, I'm seeing younger and younger people, and I'm seeing even children, and I'm seeing parents and grandparents coming up to me going, I raised my kids listening to Fleetwood Mac, and they know every Fleetwood Mac song. And same with the Beatles. I mean, so this is being passed on to the generations. So
yeah, I get people that come to our shows and with their children and say, hey, my kids never seen Heart, and now they want to go buy an album. They really liked it. So I think we're bringing music to a generation that might not even have known about these bands.
And also, I know coming across my desk are a lot of new tribute bands for new bands. I mean, Gwen Stefani, Foo Fighters. I mean,
Three Doors Down,
And here's a funny thing. My son is 28, and
Green Day.
But you know what? They consider in that age, my son, Green Day and Foo Fighters and Gwen Stefani, they call those what do they call them?
The legacy bands.
Moving on.
Legacy. Thank you. He's going, oh yeah, Green Day, that's a legacy band. Foo Fighters, it's a legacy band. I'm like, really? Yeah. So that means they're old too.
Oh, well, don't feel bad because I do. I sing in the daytime. Well, I'm not right now because of COVID, but I sing in the daytime for seniors, and they're now asking for music like the Beatles, the Stones, Aerosmith.
You know what? This is funny. I have to throw this in because when Bob and I, we weren't even doing, there was no tribute bands around. This was back in the day when we were doing cover stuff.
Yeah.
One day we were just goofing and I said, can you imagine like when we're old and all our friends are old, are like we're going to be sitting around in rocking chairs going, I can't get no satisfaction. and Bob's like, nah. I go, no, because it'll always be Glenn Miller, you know? But no.
That's the whole point.
I mean,
we still listen to Glenn Miller. We still listen to Frank Sinatra. Good music will always be good music.
I was doing.
Listen, this has been a lot of fun, gals. I really, really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us in the green room. Okay? Will you come back again? Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Stay safe.
You too.